Welcome to the next delicious thing. I am at Toklas restaurant with Janine Edwards, the head baker.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me. So I thought we'd take the advantage of having her time for a few minutes to ask her a couple of questions, because you've heard me talk about Topless before. I love everything that I've tried here. So especially the biscuit, which I've mentioned many times. It's on my list of like top chocolate biscuits in London. So how long have you been a baker?
It's going on 5 years now, I think.
5 years.
5 years. Yeah, I was a chef before, so
okay.
Natural transition.
What made you switch from being a chef to a baker?
I kind of always romanticized baking, and I think it's it was inevitable. I was eventually going to end up that way. I guess working in restaurants ran its course, and I wanted to explore the baking world a bit more.
Did it fulfill your romantic expectations?
Yes, yeah, it did. I mean, the early mornings were something to get used to.
You have to get up in the middle of the night, don't you?
Yeah, that was the beginning. It was a complete opposite switch around from restaurants.
Yeah.
But I guess depending on the bakery you work at, it can be easier. And we only start at 5 a.m. now, so
only 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's easier than 11 p.m. at night.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like a lot of times bakers have to wake at 11 or 2 a.m. or they get in at 2 quite often, right?
Yeah. So that was my first bakery I worked at, which was a bit more wholesale production, and then you've got to obviously get everything ready before it goes off to the various cafes and restaurants and stuff. So.
Yeah, are you happy to share which one that was?
Yeah, I'm Little Bread Peddler, so that's essentially where I trained up to be a baker, and then from there moved on to Rye by the Water before coming here.
What's your favourite kind of thing to bake? Is it viennoiserie or bread or?
I love both for different reasons. I think I feel with bread you're constantly learning. Every day the dough is different, so you have to kind of. It's a bit more intuitive, and then I like the precision that comes with pastries. I prefer the viennoiserie side of it rather than maybe this beautiful layered
like a milfoil.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many are in the team here then?
3 of us.
3 of you. Oh, you produce quite a lot for 3 of you?
Yeah, it's quite diverse as well. That's what's been quite challenging, is very different skill sets in terms of I have to draw on my chefing background for the savory sandwiches and stuff, and then obviously the breads, very different way of working and thinking to the pastries. So.
And are you connected to the restaurant as well?
We are, in that we supply them with bread, and we're going to start collaborating a lot more on how we can, I guess, showcase the bakery better in the restaurant, and then they'll contribute through savory things in the bakery space.
Oh, cool.
So that's kind of where we're going to next, creating more of a cafe space within the bakery.
Yes, yeah. It was a building site when I first came to that back room, and now it's very kind of Scandi classroom.
Yeah, that back room's it's a work in progress, so we're going to try and focus more on the front area.
Cool. So what made you want to come and work at Topless?
I think it was an opportunity to work in an environment that could be very creative. The owners are very creatively driven, so they want things to be constantly changing and evolving, get to work with amazing producers, and it's just again challenge myself in a different way, because my baking background's mostly been wholesale, and I wanted to experience more of a retail.
So you actually get to see people eating your food a little bit more.
Yeah, and also just the variety that comes with that, and with wholesale's it's very much driven by routine and schedules that you kind of everyone has a system and a flow, whereas I find with retail you have a lot of that, but in different it's almost like different sections. I guess it's kind of set up like a kitchen environment, and so it's managing all those different routines and sections within the bigger space. It's a bit more challenging.
So you've got I guess it's more lots more of smaller batches of things as well.
Exactly, and I think with wholesale it became quite taxing on my body as well. So I mean, you're shaping hundreds of loaves or hundreds of pastries a day. It's just
I used to work with a former baker, and she said the heft of the flour sacks, lifting those into the mixers.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that she said she never got over the fact that she used to have to wake up at 2 a.m. and she can never sleep past 4 a.m. now.
Yeah,
because of that.
A problem for me too.
Oh, no. So maybe not quite so romantic, but I'm thinking about starting a baking career. So is there a favorite product that you make to actually eat yourself?
I do love it. Well, we haven't. It's not on the menu yet because we've been developing them. But I do love a pain au chocolat.
What chocolate will you be using?
Pastries.
Nice. Is it a classic pain au chocolat? You're not like messing with it in any way?
No, yeah, just a
Don't
classic.
mind a bit messing. It's fine.
No, we'll stick to the classic, and maybe I'll put some tweaks in it, as we go. But yeah, let's see if it evolves into anything else.
And can people? So you're closed on Mondays, but through Tuesday to Saturday.
Tuesday
to Saturday. So closed Sunday, Monday. It's Tuesday to Saturday. Is it the same products every day?
Yes.
Or same type of product?
Yes. Yeah. We tend to have a already set range. Sometimes like weekly or every few weeks we'll change one or two products. I think with the new setup and us collaborating with the kitchen more, that we'll have like a base range, and then on top of that have things that evolve a bit more perhaps. So that's the idea, giving the bakery a bit more space, because we won't have to do all the sandwich prep to kind of be able to do more of the baking stuff.
One of the things that I understand that's special about Toklas is the citrus, and also there's some other produce that you source really carefully as well.
We use some grains from a farm called Green Acres Farm. It's all sustainably grown grains, working with heritage grains as well, and a few different varieties, one of which actually was recently they started putting into production, and that hadn't been grown since just after World War One, and they're saying it's probably on par in terms of strength with Canadian grains. So it's quite exciting.
Oh wow!
I think we were one of the first people to get like a small batch of it to try out, and then he then sends grains onto this watermill in Wales called Fellinganol. So it's an old restored watermill, and they mill the grains for us. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, because British flour's wheat is lower in protein, right? So in order to make most of British bread, it needs the Canadian wheat, which is
a lot of people blend. There is more of a movement towards doing 100% wholemeal and whole grain loaves. We haven't actually got to that point yet, but it is something I would like to explore more, because there's so many benefits to it. So
this kind of wheat, is it more nutritious as well as being like better for the environment?
Yes, better for the environment because it's locally grown, and it's considered in that it's made for this environment. And then it is more nutritious because they're not using pesticides, and you're using the whole grain, so you're getting all that nutrition in. And obviously with the sustainable farming, they're considering the soil and the entire ecosystem. So
I was reading about that. I'm going to probably do a whole podcast about the farming of wheat, because I think
it's fascinating.
Lots of really interesting stuff coming in. Most of the podcast is kind of bakeries, desserts, so a lot of flour. Amazing. And chocolate too. And so the flour is really special, and also the citrus.
Yes, so we've worked with a great producer just outside Valencia. It's almost like a collection of citrus is how he describes it, and it's a sixth generation family farm. I've never seen so many different types of citrus. We went on a outing as a team.
Oh, amazing.
To go and taste and learn about it, and we must have tasted about 80 different varieties. I'm not even joking. We all had like acid burns around our lips and stuff afterwards, but it was phenomenal. And
wow.
So we're the only ones in the UK that are bringing it into the UK. We're working with a few other restaurants to help them get some as well, and so that's been great to just like have all that variety for the different pastries and be able to candy it, and it's been good.
That sounds really cool. Well, thank you. I know you're at the end of your shift, and I really appreciate you chatting with me. And I will be tasting some of the products soon, so I'll be back. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.